Okay, so, since I'm gonna put this on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, well, it looks like KR put their money where their mouth is. They put their money where their mouth is. They made a response on the 21st like they said they would. Um, so yeah, we're just gonna read it straight up. Remember, this is a bad Google translation. So if I get something wrong, I apologize for that. I am not, like, obviously I'm not fluent in Korean, so if I don't get everything correct, or like, oh, I'm reading this wrong, we can blame Google Translate. But without further ado, let us begin. Hello, this is Elsword director Dongxing Lee. Whatever his actual name is, I apologize for Google Translate. We sincerely apologize for causing inconvenience and disappointment to adventurers due to the recent events in the recent content reorganization. Okay. So just really quick, they're already apologizing, which is good. This is what people wanted. They wanted them to apologize, so they already apologized. So after last reorganization, we apologize for not being able to quickly respond. Yeah. We apologize for the problem of communication, for the overall involvement of the adventurers of Elriel's present. So here are the deeper commands. In the month, we will proceed with the meeting. Let me pull up Twitch chat in the side here so I can see what you guys are saying while I read this. Okay, continuing on. Before the conference, the adventurers, I will explain through the article posted to the adventure. Okay, direction of the update in 2021. Okay, this is what I wanted at least the most, is communication. We're getting some communication from them. One of the major update plans for this year was the reorganization of the overall content, okay? As new contents are added after a long period of service, problems of existing contents can be solved, correct? And the reorganization of operations for new users and eliminate the existing gap between users appears in old games. I've been doing it. This year, several contents and systems have been reorganized to solve problems and improve overall play, okay? Was in progress, is in progress, and yet plans to proceed. However, since it has been the service for a long time, there are many parts that are connected to the existing content each time the reorganization proceeds. Considering the areas that could cause major changes or inconvenience to the players, the internal development situation, the timing of the application, there was difficulty in applying all the things adventurers wanted into the reorganization. Due to these points, only parts that can be definitely patched are notified in advance and updated. This approach can feel alternately communication. Dear adventurer, happy to embrace the issue of the absence of two-way communication has been. Okay, it's kind of being lost in translation. It seems like, okay, their plan was to like revamp a lot of old systems, to make them more modern or to catch people up or things like that. But I guess based on the nature of these changes, and the timing of it, like, they had to execute, and when people were responding that they didn't like certain things, they couldn't necessarily fix them fast enough because they were already getting set to execute the next part of the plan. So at least what I'm understanding, I could be understanding it wrong, which, you know, causes problem. That's another problem, because it's just like, okay, you have all these plans to do all these like updates, and then it's just like, but you don't have like a you update. Essentially, they had a plan to update this to like 3 steps, right? Let's say, for example, so they had update 3 steps, but it's just like, okay, 1 is done, we got to work on 2 already, so they can't fix 1 if 1 had an issue, because like, okay, we're already doing 2, which, you know, causes problems, as we can see. So that's why they couldn't do it fast enough, because they were already doing 2, and people were just like, no, there's a problem with 1. I think. Yeah, they do it in parts instead of one giant batch. That too. From now on, about the information, the reorganization of the first half of the past that adventurers have been wondering about, and the reorganization planned in the future, let me explain. Part 1. First car for the inconvenience over car 99 to improve the problems of the subsequent level. We wanted to help adventurers settle in the game right after reaching level 99. Okay, that's smart. Transcendent skill slots free. Transcendent skill slots were previously available. Again, okay, real quick. I need a burp. Hold on. Whew. Anyway, this is what I want. This is what I want in every single patch. Why do they put the patch in? That's like, what is it less? This is like 2 sentences. Every single patch that Elsword does in the future better have these paragraphs. This is what I want. Communication. Transcendent skill slots were previously available only with cash. Were reorganized once they can purchase with ED. Now, compensate the difference between the binary. Yeah. Okay, we know why Transcendence is in the game. Or why they did the change they did. Secret Dungeons. Secret Dungeons has become equipment for the character growth section. Acquiring +9 automatically does not stagnate the content, allows rapid growth to be improved. I agree with that. The El Rio Node area. After Rigmore update, the region equipment and growth to what the final armor farming has been. Therefore, the section also raises the level of the standard equipment. Of the standard equipment so that it can grow a little faster. I agree with that. They can grow faster. Yeah, it has been adjusted to prevent dropping of elite tier pieces so that the combat power can be increased more smoothly. I agree with this too. That's what El Rio Node did. Okay. Hinare Reconstruction. The 4th skill upgrade through Hinare Reconstruction has been an essential element in playing the dungeon at a higher level. Agree. However, with the weekly acquisition of restrictions, the growth path of the reorganization was shortened. Yep. But Hinare Construction Fragments had weekly restrictions. As it was content, the farming period was getting longer, which delayed entering the upper level dungeon. Okay, I agree. To improve this, the amount of debris required has been relaxed. That's fine. Varnamir Raid. Flame of Condemnation after the Pruinam update. Mine's weapon and Varnamir weapon are also secret dungeon. Adds energy following the fusion theory. Improvements are being made in the direction of gradually reducing the difficulty of farming. Rasa weapon with the addition of the inorganics cubes. Gauge improvement and the increased acquisition trial coupon from a quest. Rasa weapon improvements have been made to lower the difficulty of acquiring weapons. Whatever, Rasa weapon. That's fine. Sure. Improvement of... I don't know what this is. Arcane armor in the final current Elsword. The amount of fatigue of goods required by the process to reduce the derivative acquisition of giant magical crystals has been added to the archive main quest week. Nevertheless, it was confirmed that due to the burden of refining remains, the amount of necessary goods decreased and the amount of increase of confirmation success gauge was reduced. Improvements have been made to the height. Okay, that's fine. Varnamir Raid Exchange List Upgrade. Magic Stone is the item that is constantly needed from Apocalypse type Void to, Birth Weapon. It is confirmed that the supply was insufficient. More Mystic... Oh, this Mystic Stones. My bad. More Mystic Stones were obtained by exchanging Flame Crystals. Flame Marks has been improved so that it can be obtained. That's completely fine, too. Title Switching. Basically, in Elsword, you play with the keyboard to use the mouse to play the title by replacing Gameo in order to bridge the discomfort for adventurers and gap according to the skill level of the pattern. A system, has been implemented that allows easy switching of titles. Okay, that's fine too. Dungeon skip improvement. Previously, the dungeon event production was implemented to be skipped only when all members of the dungeon agree to skip. Okay, fine, it's whatever. A third job, the addition of third job quests. Okay, they just made that easier, that's fine. Okay, balance adjustment. First of all, we'll explain the basic process of selecting characters for Okay, this is interesting. Hold on. I'm sitting up. Chat, it's time to sit up. They're about to explain how they decide to balance characters. Time to sit up. Everybody sit up in their chairs. We explain the basic process of selecting, characters for the balance patch. We collect play data for the week to month from the period of the previous balance patch to the preset. The play data includes general dungeon results for each character, raid results for each character, odds per rank in official battles, PvP, sure. Character average ratings, ECT, are collected, and through this, characters with excessive grades or poor grades are selected. Results include play time, total amount of damage, damage per minute, use of skills, MP, consumption, and such. Since verified data is necessary, there is not a lot of play data that can be verified. What? We also make selections after review by reflecting on the opinions of internal and external play. Okay, let's keep going and we might come back to this one. The latest dungeon balance is based on the final content, Pruinam Raid, in the direction of smooth play. Adjustment is in process. The basic balance patch, in addition to the targeted selection process, and what the character of play that the party, after confirming the results of play, we decided to select character to be patched. For example, all parties with character A have good or low average results, or some party, whether included the B character, has excellent to low average results. Lost in translation. Dead characters are more likely to be buff and popular characters are more likely to be nerfed. But that isn't necessarily what happens. That's what they're saying. Like, this part so far doesn't make sense to me, because if this was this doesn't necessarily show what they do. You know what I mean? Like this makes sense and there's logic here. But from what we've seen them do with balance patches, that isn't what they do. Like, we still have Centurions running around ever since day one. Still have Daybreakers running around killing things since day one. You know, the list goes on with all the broken characters. And then, like, on the flip side, it's just like, okay, where's the, I don't know, TB, for example, right? Where's the, what's another bad character? Where's the, I can't think of another one at the moment. But you get what I mean. You get what I mean. The age-date verification thing is where I disconnect between devs and player occurs. Date verification. Since include playtime, DPM, and consumption. Since data verification is necessary, there's not a lot of play data that can be verified? Reflecting the opinions of internal, external play. Can I see okay. Tangent, real quick. Super quick tangent. Can I watch the KOG internal play? Can I be there? Can someone live stream this? Can KOG live stream internal play? I want to see them playing these characters. Can I see somebody play Nova in the offices and struggle and cry? Please? Please? FLs are never accepted into raids, bro. I know some really strong FLs, but you definitely need, like, that gear for that. Yeah, I want to see this internal play, bro. Okay, let's continue. Ooh. Yeah, of course, this is the big sauce right there, the professional organization. Okay, based on this data, the selected characters are of the overutilized skills, passives, and characters, in addition to eternal adjustments, standards for effects. I don't know why I keep burping today. I'm talking too much. In addition to the eternal adjustment, standards for effects, etc., through the Elsword website, bulletin board, inquiries, external communities, based on collected opinions, we select skill targets to be adjusted and proceed with the patch. Match balance is the direction for minimizing the influence of the dungeon, and the average win rate and the average rating of the official match, official PvP are high. Monitoring character and overutilization of a particular skill. Okay, that adventure, such as overbalance of a particular skill regarding the areas of concern, through the Elsword website, bulletin board, inquiries, okay. In addition, oh, they mentioned Nova. We're about to read. I read that early. Okay, in addition to adjusting the percentage damage of the skill when performing the balance patch, passive improvement, or napalm super armor, cough cough, Meteor Falcon watching this video, no, I'm just joking, I'm joking, which was included in the balance patch at the end of January, gives defense ignoring effects to some character skills. The addition of effects as a recovery area to falls also helps the character's smooth partition to play in the raid. It was an attempt. In addition, we will select the character correlation method that gave us through inquiries to the customer center. We are working on including it in the balance patch. This is... Let me read this last paragraph again. Because this is obviously them talking to me. Okay. Okay, in addition to adjusting the percentage of damage when performing passive, which was included in the balance patch, gives defense ignoring effects to some characters, in addition to the effects of the recovery area. Help the character smooth participation and play in the raid. It was an attempt. In addition, we will select the character correction method that you gave us through inquiries in the customer service. Okay. It seems that... Okay. I don't know why I keep burping. Okay, whatever. It seems that at least they have ideas that they want to do, but they don't quite understand, it seems, what actually executing them means. Because they talk about napalm super armor, but napalm super armor in itself, you can't just add super armor to napalm and it's a support skill. You can't do that. If you actually know how to play Nova and you're using Napalm Crow, you understand why it doesn't work as a super armor field. It only goes one direction, it is very short, and it has no buffs. It is just super armor. So it's not a good supporting skill. It was made to be a supporting skill, as we can see here. They wanted it to be. To help characters smooth participation and play the raid. They wanted it to be. But obviously they don't, like, I don't want to be rude, but they don't understand why just giving napalm super armor doesn't work. Like you guys were saying, there's a dissonance there. There's a connective dissonance there. With what how they understand characters and how we do, because we know how to play them. Yeah, like, it seems like they had it seems like, I'm gonna make an early prediction. It seems like they had a plan laid out that they were gonna execute. But as they were, but they were executing it in multiple parts. This is from KOG. This is their official statement. We're reading their official statement. So they had multiple parts of this big plan they were gonna execute, but they were so focused on. Oh yeah, I can link it. It's bad Google translation, but I can still link it. So they were they had this big plan, doing it step by step by step, but the problem is they already had the next step ready, even though the first step had some problems. You know, the super armor napalm crow. Mostly the character balance. I think all the stuff up here was completely fine, but the one balance patch, oh, excuse me, was a bit rusty. However, they already had the next step planned, so they were just like, oh, we can't go back because we have to do the next thing. Oh, but we had to fix some of this character balance things. So it's like, it just got messy. I can see how things went wrong. You know what I mean? I can see how things went wrong in a situation like this. I'm not giving it an excuse. I can understand how this happened, I suppose. Alright, so this is the big one. This is profession. This is what everybody was pissed off about. Professions within a particular profession, circulation problems associated with the group of goods and the resulting bias. Mithril supply and demand at a particular point in time, in addition to problem solving, the Sage's Magic Stone and supply and demand of potions of fighter potions through the content, so that you can always try to strengthen it. In order to improve, professional occupations have been reorganized. Okay. So their intention... Okay, no, let's read the whole thing, then we'll discuss. Okay, first, the blacksmith is blessed with fluorite stone for the fortification of blacksmith. The number of the orders of the blessing of restoration is reduced. We tried to reduce the burden of reinforcement that is normally carried out through the blacksmith hammer benefit. The reason for the restrictions in the manufacture of treasure hunters and alchemists is the excessive price fluctuations due to abusing or workplaces are prevented. It was a device to minimize. That the limit is set at a level that does not become the limit in normal play. I judge it, however, the reorganizations did not satisfy the adventurers. We are sorry that the reforms related to the profession, including all this, did not meet the expectations of adventurers. It is the heart. I promise that it is recommended that additional improvement patches be carried out in the direction of smoothly enjoying professional content. I promise. Okay. Here's the thing, right? Because there's two majorly big things here that are like being said. So the first thing is their intention, right? So what is their intention? Their intention is to help the supply of, at least for alchemists, to help the supply of, well, in general, to help the supply of sages, magic stones, and fighters, which sages are only in events, and fighters are like pretty much only in PvP. Okay, somewhat understandable, I suppose. Mithril has a supply and demand only at a particular point, or at a particular point in time. Half a year. We already know this. Every half a year, Mithril goes through the roof. I don't think that's a problem. I personally don't think that's a problem. They, whatever reason, think it's a problem. I think it's okay that Mithrils have a big supply and demand during enhancement events. I think it's fine. But whatever. I keep going up here too, because it's just like you go up a little bit. Okay. Blacksmith blessed with the fortification blacksmith. The number of orders was reduced. Okay, so something it was not mentioned before. They did reduce how many restoration scrolls you needed to restore. However, this does not address the problem people had. The problem people had is that if you wanted to, you can use the blacksmithing profession to get up to +10 without having to get any of the KC items, you know? You could theoretically only use blacksmithing stuff to get to +9 and +10. Once you hit 9 and 10, you're kind of stuck. You're actually also 8. If you hit 8, 9, or 10, you're kind of stuck because it's gonna break at that point. But you did have a chance to get to 8, 9, and 10 really easily. Specifically 9 and 10 because they're very hard without any KC stuff. But they aren't addressing it. But that's the problem, is that that's the main issue. That's the main thing people care about. Is that being able to access 9 and 10 for a very free-to-play method. So it does bother me a bit that they're not addressing that, even though it's obvious what this blacksmithing problem is about. Although they might address it later. You know, I'm not gonna judge so far, but this seems like this was their intention. You know, this was their intention, but even their intention is devoid of that idea. All right. Plan for future updates. Previously, I explained the reorganization matters and the intentions have been carried out so far, and from now on, we will plan the first half and the second half. I will tell you about the reorganization that has been made. Up until now, the overall growth from the post-war prelude part of El Reno to Riggamore has been reorganized, and in the future, Riggamore, and after that, we will proceed with the reorganization of contents of good and supply. I don't know what that means. Giant boss dungeon, battle equipment, and the L house. So it seems that future updates will be Riggamore, and then contents and good supply. Is that KC shop? Is that something with the ED shop? Giant boss dungeons, something with raid bosses, battle equipment. Is that PvP gear, sparring gear maybe, and then L house. And then they give. Oh, okay. There's actually more. Oh, I'm sorry. This was the end. I thought this was the end. Okay. Monday, May 5th. May 5th. Magical crystal supply and demand improvement. Okay, early resonance improvement, some quest titles, higher dungeons, difficulty adjustments, and other changes are planned. Interesting. So coming up early May, magical crystals will be easy to get. Early on resonance gets improved. I talked about that in yesterday's stream, and then all these improvements. During June and July, we are going to reorganize some fighting equipment and the giant boss dungeon. Also in the summer update, the growth path for characters before the Labby update and basic growth support reorganization I am preparing. Okay. I mean, these are things we've talked about. Growth path of characters before Labby. I think they're making level 0 to 99 easier permanently. We've talked about that before. Reorganize some of the fighting equipment and giant boss dungeon. I'm not sure what this means. Either it's raid boss, fighting equipment could be PvP, we need a better translation. Interesting. So in the second half, so in July, reorganization of L House is scheduled for the second half of the year. In addition to that, other matters are not confirmed. At present, we will continue to think and improve by collecting opinions from adventurers even in unscheduled areas. In addition, there is a major update as such as content reorganization afterwards. It is possible to increase the understanding of adventurers and planting intention. I'll try to include an explanation as well. So yes, so it seems, at least with this update, it seems with every single patch, they will include an explanation as well, which is good. More communication is good. Okay. Improved way the adventurers' opinions are collected before the update. Here we go. All right, here we go. As mentioned earlier, there is a lack of communication that adventurers here have saved because of the circumstances of internal development. We once again apologize for making you feel as a one-way path that does not collect the opinions of adventurers. One of the ways to overcome the absence of the communication, the official opinion of adventurers to Nimdual for future planned reform, we will strengthen communication before updating by operating a listening space. Okay. Rather than providing a separate space right away for quick implementation, use the existing bulletin board by going to the opinions for the adventurers. Mindful manner can be found at yeah. Of course, the opinions you gave through the balance form, inquiries, and bulletin boards on the official website both did not reflect well. I think he may have had doubt with the utility of the space. Until now, all opinions provided through the official website are being reviewed internally. Was reflected in the lack of real. It is time to take a long time to reflect the common practice. It is not a one-sided delivery of opinions. By improving even the inadequate parts of the official website bulletin board operation, we will do our best to operate so that it can be a place of two-way communication. Okay, so they admit it. They admit it, you know? Again. Regardless of however you feel, or like however you hate KOG or whatever like that, when someone admits they did something wrong, you at least have to respect it. You know, at least respect when someone admits they did something wrong. And they did. They definitely admit that their communication was not there. And it seems like they're promising to do better with communication, you know? They will strengthen the communication before updating by operating a listening space. I'm not sure what that means. I'm sure this is mostly for KR players. It'd be nice if they had something for international players like us, like the NA server or the INT server, EU server. But it's going to be a separate space specifically about future updates before they actually happened. They're promising it. We got to keep them up with it, but at the same time, we can't be angry at them because they said they apologized and they said they're going to make this, so hopefully they will make this. All right. In addition, we will respond to the statements you gave through various channels. 1. Gathering 2 answers to questions about card and improvement source 600. B. Clarifications as soon as possible for more than one reason deferred. Among the opinions given at the conference, we want to reflect the game first that can be developed. It wasn't enough to prepare an answer. In fact, some of the contents were not reflected, and the situation became impossible to meet the expectations of adventurers. I thought it over and couldn't answer. This is entirely my fault. Since a long time has passed, it is difficult to provide additional answers and reflections at the present time. We deeply apologize for the difficulty in processing further responses at this current point of time so that the user's opinions can be heard, reflected, and answered in the future. In the future, we will strengthen the communication function of the suggestion and balance bulletin board. Now, on the 5th, the league was scheduled for something or deferred to the adventure and individuals of the balance board. We'll listen to your opinions and reflect on them. Listen, it is messed up. It is messed up. There is pretty much admitting almost that things on the balance forum and things like that weren't really being listened to. But if they're gonna promise, if they're gonna say that they're gonna listen now, I hope they will. That's the best thing I can say to them. If you're gonna promise that you're gonna listen now, there's not another chance here. This is the chance. So what else can I say? And I think it can be easy as if someone makes a thing on the balance forum and it gets a lot of upvotes or whatever, because I've seen the balance forum sometimes, have a dev respond to it, you know what I mean? Just so you know that your dev is looking at it. It's that simple. If they can just do that, I think that'd be pretty good. All right. Reorganization, explain the rollbacks and resurrecting intended for professional. As mentioned in the previous section, professional job reorganization is what adventurers experience through gameplay. Progress has been made to improve various problems. However, many adventurers felt they were nerfed. For 5, we'll continue the further. Okay, I don't know what that means. However, it is practically impossible during certain event periods and the reinforcement system of the difficulty of abnormal structure. We agree with the need for reorganization of the reinforcement system. However, the reinforcement system... Okay, regarding the reorganization, we are sorry for not being able to promise a decent reorganization for this occasion. 1, not just a number to change the balance. Okay. Oh. Are they addressing each part of the document? Wait. Anybody have the document on hand? Hold on. Anybody have the document on hand? Dang it. I had the document at some point. Shoot. Anybody have the document on hand? If they're actually going, like... The document that the people who were protesting. Remember when people were protesting? It was, like, everywhere, like, a week ago. Shoot. Bro, it was like everywhere like a week ago. Hold on. If they are, you can't, again, like I said, you have to at least respect it. Maybe this will help. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I was talking about. Let's see. If they address it, then you gotta respect it. Alright, thank you, Bambi. Here, let's go to a different area. I don't know why I'm using YouTube. I can just go do a different area in game. Potty break. Let's go to the Fountain of Healing. Alright. Let's see here. It just seemed like it looked familiar. To explain rollbacks, let's see. Here we go. Yeah, okay. They are. Look, they actually are. Explain the rollback and objective for Profession Nerf under the name of Remodel. Profession. Okay. Again, you gotta at least respect it. You gotta at least respect it that they are in actually engaging and actually addressing things that are listed here. The things that are legitimately listed here. I gotta at least respect that. Okay, talk. As mentioned in the previous section, professional job reorganization is what adventurers experience through gameplay. Progress has been made to improve various problems. However, the adventurers felt that they were nerfed. For 5, will continue to further improve the patch into May. Okay. I don't think people will be happy about this. Because, first of all, right? I think people would be happy if they said, we messed up, we're going to go back on it, and change it back to normal. But no, they are dedicated to this change, and they said they're going to improve it and make it better. I don't know if this is smart. on KOG's part, because, again, they never addressed the actual problem with Profession, is that people are able to get +9 and 10 for free. You know, that's the main point of Blacksmith, and they didn't address that, so I think that's going to be a problem. Okay. But they did explain it. We did explain it. It's practically possible owing to the previous event the reinforcement system in difficulty. Where does that say here? Remodel the system specialized for whaling and practically only available during the event period. Okay. I agree. The need for reorganization of the reinforcement system. I guess this means enhancement system. However, the enhancement system, we're approaching it with caution because it's a system that has a huge impact on gameplay and economy. We'll carefully consider ways to reduce confusion and influence on Elsword's play. Ugh. Excuse me. Regarding the reorganization, we are sorry for not being able to promise a direct reorganization for this occasion. Okay. So they said, so pretty much the document was asking, remodel things for whaling, and then the problems with enhancement that are only available during the event period. And it's okay, I kind of can sympathize with them, with what they're saying. It's but I can kind of sympathize with what they're saying, because what they're saying is they want to change it. But they have to approach it with caution because it's a system that has a huge impact on gameplay and economy, which is true. It's very true. Enhancement is one of the biggest things that can change gameplay and the economy. So, okay, I suppose I can sympathize. We'll carefully consider ways to reduce confusion and influence on adventurers' Elsword play. Regarding the reorganization, we are sorry for not being able to promise a direct... Okay. So we'll see. What did it say? Again, Person KOG had originally designed Blacksmith Profession to help players progress outside of enhancement events, but players found out that using it during enhancement events provided more substantial benefits. Could be. So with the next demand, or not demand, the next thing that they wanted was constant balance patches of each job with acceptable periods between and make practical patches, not simply playing with numbers. Okay. 1, not just number of the balance patch of occupations can be understandable, substantial improvement. From 2020, after the character reboot update, most of the leagues will be updated with a balance patch. It is in progress. Elsword is strong each character properly, even if a change to one skill. Since there are many connected elements, it did not change the structure every time. However, in order to balance the characters as much as possible, we will proceed with the balance patch. Later, when the balance patch is in progress, a description of the patch direction will be added. We will be able to strengthen communication with adventurers. Yo, what's up, Ella? Ella, they made a response, and we're reading it right now. We'll go through it at the end, because it seems like you just got here. If you're curious, though, they're directly talking about the document, so that's actually really interesting, that they are, physically talking about the document itself. So they were talking about the balance patches, and they were pretty much saying that even if it changed to one skill, there are many connected elements. It did not change the structure every time. Okay. This is it's a big response. It's a very, very lengthy response. Yeah. So yeah. And now they're doing each point. Okay, so it seems with the balance patch, because again, this is one of the points I disagreed with, because what does this mean? It says constant balance patches with each job with accessible period points between, and make practical patches, not just simply playing with numbers. So what does it mean between acceptable periods? Because if it was constant between acceptable periods, then it wouldn't that be too much? Wouldn't that be way too much balancing? Make practical patches, not just playing with numbers. I could see what they're saying with not just playing with numbers, but numbers do have impact. That weren't simply like they did changes that weren't just numbers. Like, I guess this is more of an overall thing, instead of like a recently thing, because recently they have been doing practical patches. I guess in general sometimes they don't always, but it seems like they're pretty much saying, yeah, it's just weird. It's just a weird situation, so that's why the response seems kind of weird. That they're changing characters, even if they change one skill, it's still... They're pretty much saying, even if they change one skill, there are many connected elements, and it did not strain the structure every time, so sometimes it changed a lot, sometimes it didn't. Wouldn't it be better to make a test service, listen to people's feedback? That would be cool. And they did say at the end here, they do say at the end, when a balance patch is in progress, so not when it's coming out, when it's in progress, a description of the patch direction will be added, and we'll be able to strengthen the communication with adventurers. So they're saying, before we get a balance patch for characters, they will tell us what happens. And then we can discuss and say, like, is this a bad idea or is this not? You know, instead of just like, okay, this is what you're gonna get, it's gonna be, this is what we're planning, which is better. It's better. You know, at the end of the day, if they actually do this, because again, it's one thing to say something, it's another thing to actually do something. If they actually do this and do this well, I think it'll make a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, if it's saying like it's written, and they actually follow up with this, you know, I gotta praise them for it. You know. Of course, I'm gonna be, and even I'm gonna be like, I'm a nice person mostly. Even I'm gonna be a bit skeptical. You know, it's one thing to say something. If they need to do this now they said it. Now it's in text. So if they don't do it, this is when you destroy them, essentially. Okay, not destroy them, but this is when you call them out in their BS. Let's say this is when you call them out on their BS. Because this is big. This is huge. I mean, yeah, it does suck, Ella, when KR players get to discuss it, yeah. But this is huge. This is huge. Like, it's such a huge thing. When a balance patch is in progress, guys. So that means not 1 week before we get it. Not the day that it happens. Before it even happens. A description of the path of the patch direction will be added. So before it even comes out, they're saying, okay, this is what we're going to change about this character. This is what we change about this character. This is what we're going to change about this character. Discuss. And then it's just like, if we can talk about it and influence it before it actually comes out to strengthen the communication there, again, I think this will be a good thing if they actually do this. You know what I mean? Like, please just do this. Please just do this and it'll be a good idea. Put their money where their mouth is. Please, because this is actually, in my opinion, this is the biggest thing they've said so far. Right here. This thing right here, this is the biggest thing that they've said. The biggest thing that they said. The test server would be the best possible scenario, but that would mean players would have to sign NDAs, people would leak stuff, scandals like the one with MiHoYo might occur. That's true. If you want to talk about NA, like maybe they can use the ELS members, because ELS members wouldn't leak that, because then they would lose the ELS. So, you know what I mean? Like that'd be one route, but obviously that's an NA only thing. Because we're trustworthy. All right, so next one. Add-on content that is efficient. So the next point of contention is remodel lack of contents in the game and entry barrier disturbing newbies to stick to the game. Okay. Oh my goodness, I'm burping so much, I don't know why. Whew, excuse me. Okay. We apologize for the fact that the Elsword team has not developed enough content to satisfy adventurers. Okay. We will work harder now to increase the quality and quantity of development by supplementing development personnel. In addition, the barriers of entry have been lowered to the reorganization of early growth section that will be updated in the summer. We will promote the settlement of new adventurers. They already talked about that. That was coming up next. They're making 0 to 99 faster. They're making the early resonance levels faster. They've already made, like, what is it? An SD a freebie, Elrianode a freebie, Rigamore got easier. So they did. They did make it easier. They did reduce the barriers. Yeah. Reveal the progress and update periods. Show developers objectives for every patch clearly. Okay. However, we will disclose the workflow chart. Yeah. Previously, major updates were guided through an official event, but as official event was discontinued after the coronavirus, a week before the update was announced in advance. The long-term update schedule is informed in advance considering points that may inevitably change during the developmental process. We can't, but we'll find a way to keep you informed periodically. Also, for the update that may affect adventure at play, such as reorganization, additional patch intentions have been made. I will guide you, including it. So they talked about this before. Essentially, just like communicating with us what they're gonna do before every patch, and they said it. They said it, and they told us what they already told us what they're gonna do in the next one. Right here. There's gonna be the next couple patches until July. You know, what is this? What are we in April? We know what they're gonna do until July, essentially, right here. So this is what we want every patch. They're already doing it. And then they said, of course, the skill thing with balance patches. One, by manipulating the okay, this is the one I didn't agree with. Feel easier, not enjoyable, because Winter Never Night isn't where you're gonna spend most of your time. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine to just kind of like, because like, how do you gauge enjoyment? You know what I mean? So I think it's fine to just make it faster and make it like a Noah or make it like a Labby where it's just 2 hours. You get to 99 and then you can head off to SDs and head off to Elrianode right after, because they already improved that part as well. So this is the part I disagreed with the document, and I talked about this on podcast. So strictly punish users gaining profit unfairly by controlling the market in-game and remodel the trade system and live market system. This is something I disagreed with, unless the translation's bad. I disagreed with this because the devs do not control the market. It is the players that control the market. That is how economy works. So so gaining profit by fairly controlling the market in game, like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, if it's just because somebody has a lot of like KC, like, if it's not through illegal means, if it's through legal means that the game allows you to do, for example, someone has crazy KC and they just sell a lot of KC items for cheap, so they have a lot of ED, and then buy out like all the barrier fragments and like pretty much put them back up for a higher price or something like that. Or someone buys all the Glacium and puts them all back for a higher price. Like, if someone has the capability to do that, then that's all it is. They had the capability to do that. Unless, obviously, they bought it or something to get that ED. If they got that ED legally, I think that's fine. Because that's just how economy works. Okay. The use of illegal tools in the workplace will continue to strengthen penalties and responses. In the in-game market, we will improve the supply and demand of goods so that the fundamentally stable market prices can be maintained. I'll do it. In addition, we will actively collect and improve opinions of adventurers regarding the improvement of the trading system. Do you guys have a big problem with the trading system at all? My only big problem is seal counts. I don't think... I have problems with seal counts, but that's about it. I wouldn't be against older casts getting their own unique dungeons like Labia and Noah. Yeah, they talked about that earlier. It seems like we are getting that. Yeah, this is the point I didn't agree with, because how can the devs increase the Elsword economy? The players control the economy. So the most thing they can do is just like make you drop more, like magical crystals or like glacium and things like that. Like that's an indirect change to the market. But I don't know. I don't know what I just don't know what they were asking because it says strictly punish players gaining profit unfairly. What does that mean? What does that mean? Also, only being able to trade 700 mil at a time. I agree with that, Ella. I think it should be as much as the board price in terms of personal trading. Unless there's some problem there with botting or something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So, what was the next thing? Announce the apologies of bias management and constant problems and prepare relapse prevention measures. Okay. Please prepare and notify. Okay. For all errors that hinder the lack of operation and smooth gameplay that adventurers will feel, I am always sorry without any excuses. Do not miss any tips from adventurers, and as soon as the cause is identified, quickly corrected error by reducing the inconvenience of the play. Internal Q&A will also strengthen. So they threw their hands up and said, okay. For all errors that hinder, like, they said they're sorry. They straight up said they're sorry. Again, you have to at least respect them for that they said they're sorry. And they also said that they will be better. And this is when we follow up, you know what I mean? So this is when we follow up. We have to respect their apology, and then we also have to, we have to judge them based on what they said. So they said that they will not miss any tips as soon as a cause is identified for a problem. They will quickly correct whatever errors it by reducing the inconvenience in play, and eternal QA will also strengthen. They said all these things will happen, so now this is when we grill them on it. This is when we push them on it. But at the same time, we have to respect their apology. We have to respect their apology and follow up with it. It's a double thing. And then the final point. Is prepare an alternative communication plan for recovering users' trust as fast as possible. As promised earlier, using bulletin boards on the official website, we will operate a space where you can actively listen to the opinions of adventurers in advance. Furthermore, we will prepare to hold a meeting at the end of May. We will inform you in detail about the missing method and schedule through a separate notice. This concludes the answer to the statement you delivered, and along with the insufficiency in the update process last week, we once again apologize for the loss and concern for the long-term lack of communication. Since last week's update, we've kept you waiting for a long time to post this post for whatever reason. I'm sorry. During that time, thank you for giving more heartfelt criticism and encouragement than anyone else for a better Elsword. In order to not abandon the sincerity and trust of adventurers, we will reward you with an update, not an excuse. Hopefully the memories of adventurers, Nimdal Elsword continues to be the future. We sincerely something together. And the Elsword director. Alright. So. Let's summarize, all right? Let's summarize this document. We've all read it together. Let's kind of summarize this. Let's kind of summarize it. So, they start by the typical starting. They said they apologized. Okay. Then they explained the directions of the updates that they were taking. They explained all the directions of the updates they were taking in detail, in somewhat detail. Transcendence, Secret Dungeon, Haner, so they pretty much explained all that. Why they changed profession? Yeah, we can talk about that because I think that's the most important thing. So let's talk about the profession one real quick. Where is it? So much text here. Control F profession. There we go. So let me read this out real quick. Professions with a particular profession, circulation, problems associated with groups of goods, and the resulting bias. So their problem was mithril supply and demand only. So mithril only had crazy supply and demand during enhancement events. They wanted to solve that. They wanted to solve lack of sage stones and lack of fighter potion. That's for alchemists. We won't worry about blacksmith. Blacksmith, blessed fluorite stone from the fortification of blacksmith, and the numbers of the blessing restoration is reduced. So they also reduced how many florites you needed and how many scrolls you needed. I want to reduce the burden of enhancement that is normally carried out to the blacksmith hammer benefit. The reason for the restrictions is to manufacture treasure hunters and alchemists for a yeah. So it seems like the reason for the change in profession is because people only really used it during enhancement events, essentially. It seems like that their intention was to change it so people just only didn't use it during enhancement events, so people could use it throughout, essentially, whenever they wanted to. So that was the reason that they wanted to change it. However, and they admit it here, the reorganizations did not satisfy adventurers. We are sorry for the reforms related to the professions, including all this did not meet the expectations of adventurers. It is hard. After that, it is recommended that additional improvement event patches be carried in the direction of smoothly enjoying professional content. I promise. Okay. The problem in this response here about professions, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is they don't talk about the fact of the biggest benefit of blacksmith profession, which is essentially getting a +9 or a +10, pretty much only using the profession and not using any KC items. It is nice that they reduced how many fluorite ores you need outside of enhancement event. It is nice they reduced how many restoration scrolls you need out of enhancement event. But that wasn't what people were complaining about. That wasn't what people were complaining about. People were complaining about the fact that blacksmith profession was the best way to get to +9 or +10 for free. And they didn't address that. So that's my problem with this part specifically, with the profession thing. So, again, I think this is when you grill them on it. The best thing that they say is that they will provide additional improvement patches to be carried out in the direction of smooth, enjoying professional content. I promise. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do, because I don't think it's ever gonna get to a point where it gets past the barrier of just like, if you need a fluorite ore and a restoration scroll, that's just gonna be a barrier. Like, that's just the biggest barrier for this right now. And if they don't make that better, or if they don't get rid of it, or something along those lines, it's just like, then people will never be satisfied. I think at the end of the day, people will never be satisfied. I think the biggest thing right now with this response is whenever they do the change, because it said they're gonna be additional improvements. So we gotta grill them. We gotta grill them on this when we see the additional improvements. And if it's not enough, then you fight back. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, like, for better or for worse, they can't do that at this point. At this point, like, making up to +10 a free-to-play option without buying any fluorites or any blessed restoration scrolls, that's what people want. And I think until they deliver that factor, this profession, a part of it, is not gonna change. I should change the stream title to reading the doc. Yeah, they don't mention the blacksmith ability to skip enhancement levels. It may get to a point that if there was actually a way to accumulate it in-game for free. That's true, Kiryu. Very true, very true. If there was a way to get fluorites for free, restoration scrolls for free, that's fine. That's the barrier. Like, if the profession provided hammers, fluorites, and blessed restoration scrolls, like a low amount, or like Bambi said, a weekly quest, that's fine. That's the main problem. That's the main, I guess, thing right now, is fluorites and blessed restoration scroll are expensive. Whether you get them with ED or Kaching, they are expensive. So buying them is expensive, and people don't want to do that, at least up until +10. It seems like +11, +12, +13, they're fine doing that. But at least up to +10, people don't want to do that, and it's completely reasonable. So until they either give us access to those for free, completely free, weekly quest, in the profession, what have you, people will not be satisfied with this. So I think that's what they need to do. In my personal opinion, I think wait for the additional improvement. And again, they said they're gonna communicate better. So, ask them when the additional improvement is gonna happen. And if they give us a date, wait for the date. If it's not free fluorites, free blessed restoration scrolls, or some way to get the +10 for free without having any kaching involved, I don't think people will be satisfied. Profession quests, maybe? Sure. I think that's fine too. Just some way to get fluorites, some way to get blessed restoration scroll, where KC is not part of the equation. That's what people want. That is what people want at the end of the day. And because that's what blacksmithing was. That's what blacksmithing was, for better or for worse. But at the what is it? At the same time too, we gotta grill them on this once they do it. But we have to accept their apology too, because we can't have our cake and eat it too. We can't say that KOG is trash for not automatically changing it when they said they're gonna work on that. The content of the game has scaled to the point +10 weapon is more or less required, and that's not even talking about armor. That's true. That's very true. That's why people need that. Because that's for just combat power requirements and things like that. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. But yeah, let's continue on with the summary here. So yeah, they explained all those changes. So one of the biggest things they explained was about balance patches. So they said the way that they make balance patches is that they look at the play data for the week. They check how much DPS characters are doing. The party, it looks like they're looking at party comps too. And they make selections after they review the opinions of internal and external play. I think that's the biggest thing that's making people unsatisfied with balance patches, is that internal, external play, because there's a lot of characters in this game. I'm sure not everybody in internal play plays every single character well, or plays a lot of the other niche characters. You know what I mean? So balance patching needs a lot better communication. But later on they do say, where is it? Yeah, they say right here, when a balance patch is in progress, a description of the patch's direction will be added. We will be able to strengthen the communication with adventurers. This means not even a week before the actual balance patch comes out, when they're planning the patch direction, that is when they tell us what they're going to do. And while they tell us that, that's when we can be like, or at least KR players can be like, this isn't good, this isn't a good change, why would you make this change, or this is a great change, I think you should definitely do this, before they even implement it. They can talk about that. This is good, this is a good thing. I want to highlight that a lot, because I think a lot of people reasonably are very angry at KOG, but we gotta highlight the good things. They shouldn't only pay attention to the most. That's true too, Rusty. It definitely seems like they're paying a lot of attention to the most known classes and characters. So that's why it's all coming down to that communication between players and devs that they said that they're going to improve upon. Have I tried Noah? Yeah. I like Celestia a lot. So that's the balance patch part. Yeah, profession, we talked about that. They also talked about what they're gonna do in the future updates. In May, they're gonna give us more magical crystals. However they do that. Early resonance levels are getting improved. Some quest titles, higher dungeon difficulty levels are adjustments. So maybe birth rate's gonna get nerfed or something like that. Or some later on titles will get easier to get. Like, I don't know. I can't even think of any right now. But some titles will be easier to get. In June and July, they're gonna do something with fighting equipment and giant boss dungeon. I don't know what giant boss dungeon is. Don't know what the real translation is of that. I don't know what fighting equipment is either. If it's like PvP sets or something like that, I don't know. In the summer update, the growth path of certain characters for the Labby update and basic support organization. So level 0 to 99, if you're not Labby and you're not Noah, they're making it better for you. I think they're just gonna make Labby and Noah dungeons for every single character now, which is 100% fine. 100% fine. And then the last thing that they're gonna do in July, I think the second half of July, is an L House update. So that's the future. They showed us their future plans, and that's what they said they're going to be doing in the future. Because we're in April right now, and they told us what they're going to do in July. If they keep this up, right? We're how many months ahead is that? April, May. So it's like April, May, June, July. About 3-month difference, 4-month difference. If they keep it like this, where they tell us what they're going to do 3 months ahead, 4 months ahead, I think that's great. I think that's absolutely fantastic and can make for better communication. And this is good. This is good. Listen, guys. This is showing if they put their money where their mouth is, and they already have a little bit. If they keep putting their money where their mouth is, we got to give them credit for it. We really got to give them credit for it. Because they've showed us already what they're going to do in the next 3 months. So we can talk about these things and be like, is this good? Is this bad? Like, what are you guys doing? Kind of thing like that. And if they actually do respond to us when we make communications, we got to respect it. We got to respect it. Yeah, and then that's what this is about, is improving the way their opinions are collected. So they pretty much admit that their current way of collecting information from players is not good, which is fine. You know, it kind of sucks that they pretty much admit, yeah, we weren't really paying attention to the posts you guys were making and things like that. But now they said they will. Now they said they will. But yeah. Honestly, most of these things, at least so far, it definitely seems like we can't really change much right now. But like we said, they pretty much had a big plan with multiple parts, and they're doing those multiple parts one at a time. So I didn't have time to double back because they're already planning to do the next part. But now they said that before patches go out, they'll tell us what it's going to be about, and we can discuss it before they actually implement it. And now fully take feedback from other servers. Yeah, that's the next step. That's the next step. Oh, sound effects aren't working right now because I'm on the different tab.